Okay, here's the QB78 Deluxe. This is actually one step above the standard QB78. And the difference is, when you get the gun, the Deluxe, it's going to have fiber optics on it, front and rear sight, and it's going to have this kind of like gold finish on the bolt and the trigger here. So the scope, it didn't come with the scope or a muzzle brake. I put the muzzle brake on. Very easy to put on, by the way. So the standard one is just going to have your standard sights, not fiber optic. And it's going to be black in this area and this area right here. Now, if this rifle was ordered stock just the way it is as a Deluxe, it wouldn't come with the bolt probe kit, which is a bolt probe that feeds the pellet rather than just a tubular looking type thing. On the stock rifle you'll get one. The QB78 Deluxe and the QB78 come with a stock tubular type bolt probe, and it's nice to have the long skinny bolt probe so you can push the pellets in there really good. And it does increase the velocity just a little bit. Let me tell you here what you get here. Okay, so when you get the rifle, for instance, let's say you get the Deluxe that I have here, and you get the XP bolt kit. That comes also with the seal kit. And in that seal kit, well, the bolt kit and the seal kit together gives you an extra 100 FPS. But at the expense of 50 shots for 2 CO2s rather than 60. Now the difference between just the XP seal kit and the XP bolt kit is the XP bolt kit comes with the seal kit, which is this right here. And all this does is, if you had a stock QB78 Deluxe or just a QB78 standard, if you notice in here, of what it looks like to be plastic tubing cut right here. This piece goes into the air port right there. That goes into the rifle, and that's kind of wide there, so it allows more airflow into there. So if you just got the seal kit, you know, you get 60 FPS more. If you got the bolt kit, that comes with the bolt and this right here. So basically, if you get the rifle and it's perfectly stock with no kits coming with it, it's probably going to shoot, I'd say, probably over 60 shots. You'll probably get maybe 70 good shots, but you'll have a lower velocity. So as far as velocities, let me show you what I'm talking about here. And then I'll show you some of the accuracy tests I did, even though it hasn't been broken in yet. So let's take a standard grain weight pellet, like a 7.87 grain. That's doing about 689. Now the stock rifle, without any kit or anything in it, would be somewhere around 600 or something like that. So let me go down to lists here and show you what I got. Because I like the bolt probe, so I didn't mind having less shots per fill, and it is pretty much a true 50 shots for 2 CO2s, good shots. So a 21 grain here pellet, I was shooting, these are the pile drivers, 510 feet per second. 15 grain pellet, these are H&N Sniper, 570. JSB Monsters, 13.4 grain, 597. H&N Barracuda, 634. JSB, 10.34 grain, or Air Arms, pretty much the same pellet. These are 647 feet per second. This here is Field Target Trophy H&N, 683. 8.5 grain, that's the Sniper Medium by H&N. 8.44, that's the Air Arms Field, that's 686. Oh, by the way, the 8.5 grain is 675. 7.87 grain, that's JSB exact, 689 feet per second. 7.33, that's the air arms, round nose, or it could be your JSB RS pellet. And the wad cutters, I use some light ones here. 7 grain R10 wad cutter, 724. 5.25 grain competition alloy lead-free wad cutter, 774. And Crossman SSP wad cutter. It's actually a wad cutter hollow point type pellet, 821 feet per second. So what you see here, I could add an additional 30 feet per second, but I probably don't necessarily need higher velocity. I think I'm fine with these velocities because of the fact that I usually shoot 500 FPS rifles for fun and for accuracy. So it really doesn't matter to me too much. But the trigger is really sweet. It's so good. It almost has the braking type feel of my 747, which can be lowered down to 1 pound of trigger pull. This trigger here is almost like breaking a small piece of glass. You know that microscope glass that you put under microscopes, that really thin stuff? Well, that's how this trigger feels. It feels like you break one of them things. It's almost, you can almost not predict when it's going to go off, which is really sweet. So you can line up your target and you can pull very, very gently, take out that little bit of slack, and then pull it to the rear just a little bit and it'll go off and you won't know when it's going to go off. So kind of like a surprise break, which is really nice. It's a really sweet trigger. So this one here is about, compared to the Daisy 953, this trigger, comparing the Daisy 953, on a scale from 1 to 10, this trigger would probably be about a 10. And the Daisy 953 would probably be about a 5. So that's the difference I'm talking with this trigger. The trigger is just absolutely amazing. You'd have to feel it to know what I'm talking about. And that's a stock trigger, and even if it is a 4-pound pull or a 3-pound pull, my gosh, you can hardly tell. So that's one of the benefits of that. So, but anyway, you know, if I wanted to give it another 30 feet per second, which would be a total of 130 with all the kits in it, I could install an XP valve kit, which is a high flow valve. That would be about 40 shots for 2 CO2. So I don't want to go that route because of the fact that I don't really care about power. So if I got an extra 30 feet per second, my fastest pellet would be 850, but I don't really care about light pellets because of the fact that they lose all their energy pretty much right away as soon as they come out of the barrel. So even though the velocity is impressive, they lose velocity very, very quickly. But say like I had this pellet here, you know, the pile driver is going 510, so it would get up to be like around 550 or something like that. But it's not really necessary. I think 500 is fine for the heaviest 177 pellet. So it'll get you out there if you have a good scope. Now for the accuracy, I wanted to show you guys for accuracy what we got here. Now when you get a rifle out of the box, you can't expect accuracy right away because of the simple fact that you're still breaking it in. And you have to account for the CO2 gas, you have to account for the recovery. So when you fire your first shot, of course you're going to let it repressurize until you get to your second shot. But on shots 0 through 30, this is a 1/4 inch dot. I was keeping it about half dime or under groups right here. These are 5-shot groups right here. Shot 50 right here. The pellet started falling a 1/4 inch down, and that's because of the CO2. But still, fairly good accuracy. So this pellet here is the Air Arms 10.34 grain, by the way. So it just loves them. Here's another one right here. This one was after 63 shots and it's still grouping really well. So, and then this is 69 shots right here. I aimed for this and it hit down here. So I stopped the test because of the fact that it just doesn't have anything left in it. So basically, I'm thinking, you know, you could get away with 60 shots if you want. You just have to remember that somewhere between 0 and 50 or 60 shots, you're going to drop about a 1/4 inch. That's all you have to remember. But with mil dot scopes and stuff, it probably shouldn't matter. So out of the box, if you look at this right here and compare that to the 1/4 inch dot here, that is pretty impressive at 15 yards, I would say. So this one is probably going to be able to go after 1/4 inch dots at 15 yards once it gets broke in. And I find the best pellet I can for it. So, but she likes heavy, good tight pellets. So cheap ones really don't work too well on this one. So it wants the premium stuff. So far, that's in my tests, I found that out. Now, let's say that you don't want to upgrade. Let's say you want just bone stock, which wouldn't be any of these three right here. What you want to do is you want to at least get the seal kit because of the fact that you got some spare seals in here. Even if you don't use the performance seals, which are these, which are wide right here that give you more airflow. Even if you don't use them, you could use these other ones here. So you can keep the flow restricted if you want to get the more shots. But you do need some of these other ones in case something happens where you have a leak. You always got plenty of parts here. So, and that's one thing good about Archer air guns is they have all the parts you need. As a matter of fact, this whole rifle that you're looking at right here can be totally customized any way you want. You could even build your own stock for it. You could cut the barrel and recrown it, cut it right about here, put on your own muzzle brake or silencer. You could do that. But when you hold this rifle, it feels, it's very heavy. It feels just like a .22 rifle. It feels just as solid. And you got the rubber butt pad back here, which is kind of nice. So if you take care of the wood properly and you take care of the metal, it's going to look really nice. What I'm going to do is, I left the sight on here for now, but if I want to, I could take that rear sight off. But I decided to leave it on here for now. So there's a lot of different upgrades. You could get a side lever on here. You could buy a Picatinny rail for here. You could buy the repeater kit, which will stack up about this high, so the scope is going to come up a little bit, and then you're going to have some Benjamin type pellet clips that will work with it and stuff like that. So the difference between the QB78 here and the QB79 is the QB79 is going to chop the stock off right about here. So the stock will end right here, and then you'll have connector port right here that you can connect about 4 different types of tanks. Anything from a tiny CO2 to a big HPA, high pressure air tank. The high pressure air tanks are nice because of the fact that the pressure stays the same all the time, unlike CO2 gas that has to kind of be watched and monitored, and you have to keep an eye on your temperature. But high pressure air, you really don't have to. You get a full set of shots and then it just totally dies after that. So you get like 60, 70, 80 shots or whatever your tank is full with or whatever for your pressure. So I'm probably not going to get into the QB79 series because I'm satisfied with this one for now. But if I do get into QB79, I'll fill you in on all the details and stuff like that. But this camera I'm using right now isn't super high definition. It's 720. But let me see if I can open the bolt here and give you a peek in there. I don't know if you can see that well in there, but so you're looking at the bolt probe. Now the factory one, you're just going to see what looks to be kind of like a tube that is the same diameter as the pellet, so it's just nothing but a tube. So it's nice to have that probe. When you load the pellet now, you don't want to load the pellet in the middle there. You want to put the pellet up towards the front and kind of nudge it in with your finger, and then close the bolt, because sometimes if you close the bolt on the pellet the whole distance, you know, it might go in and hit the wall there, or it might go in slightly crooked or something and get bumped around like the skirt. So you want to make sure you put your pellet up as far as you can, help it in as far as it can, then close that bolt. So that's what you want to do. So anyway, I got my BSA scope on here. This is I believe this is a 6 to 24 by 40. So very nice scope. It's got the triangle reticle on it. So I put this on just to put it through its paces today, just to see what I could do. And once again, the accuracy out of the box is pretty impressive here. So it's amazing. So this one here is going to be a very, very fun rifle, especially in the summer. If you guys are shooting cans or something at 50 or 60 yards or something, this might be a fun little rifle that you could plink with. And one of the good things about this is it's really hard to believe the price. For instance, this one here, I got the gold service with it, which is like an extra $20, but the rifle is about, probably I'd say about 110 or something like that. And then with the gold service, another 20. The reason why I got the gold service is because I just love signatures, and I love when somebody actually inspects the rifle before I do. So it's just, I know $20 sounds a lot, but let me go get that paper really quick. So what I'll do is I'll cut off this part of the video and I'll go get that paper and show you what I'm talking about, the gold service. Okay, here we got the gold service, and basically what they do is they take the rifle out and they check everything, and they run it through the crony and shoot some pellets and stuff, about 10 of them at 10 yards. And this is done on the iron sights, by the way. So obviously if you have a scope, you're going to get better results. And then down here you'll see where they shot in. This square is a 1/2 inch, by the way, right here, that square. So they got 10 pellets, you know, probably within the 1/2 inch zone at 10 yards, and that's iron sights. So you can't expect much. You know, if somebody's got good eyes, it helps. But anyway, the Stoger X Field was used. These are 8.64 grain pellets. These kind of like look like the Beeman Silver Sting pellets, or Spitzkugel from H&N. That's what them are. They're pointed pellets. So anyway, the standard deviation on the crony is 7.74. The muzzle velocity average 691.37. So anyway, they just kind of do this for you, and we got the trigger pull, which, like I told you before, a very sweet light trigger pull. 2 pounds 1 ounce. Like I was saying, the 747 Daisy that I have, the competition pistol, I've got that set down to 1 pound, and I swear that this one is almost 1 pound. It's just, it's really nice. I mean, if a fly lands on it, it won't go off, but a June bug, it will. So it's definitely a safe trigger. But I'm just saying, you get a big bug sitting on it, it's going to go off. So, but that is sweet. The trigger, though, you guys, it's amazing. And then here's the print up on the whole 10-shot string. Now I have a crony. I can do all this myself. I've verified rifles myself the same way they do here. But I just like having this as kind of like a, you know, kind of like a something I can remember, you know, for the years to come. Like I can remember that guy named Mike tested my rifle out on October 7, 2015. And he put the temperature down, he checked it out, make sure everything was working properly. So that's why I like that. So for $20 you get this, and you get the security of knowing that they tested it out, took a look over the rifle, make sure everything was working fine. So, but anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm probably going to do a lot more shooting with this rifle, so you want to get the bolt probe kit, you can put that in yourself. So if you want to buy the rifle or something, the standard rifle, like I said, it's about $100. And then this one here, just for having this coloring right here, and then the fiber optic sights, it's only like, I'd say, another $10. So the deluxe, is really nice to have. And they have another one that isn't the deluxe, that's just the standard one that comes with a 3-9 by 32 scope. And the thing that's cool about that scope is the eyepiece, or the bell right up here. You can adjust the parallax even though it's non-adjustable. It's considered a non-adjustable scope. It's adjustable magnification, but up in the bell here you can loosen up the eyepiece and you can put it at 10 yards and you can move the eyepiece until you see a clear picture, and then it's got a 10-yard parallax. So I've done that with my 3-9 by 32 scopes before also. So anyway, yeah, it's a really beautiful rifle. I'm surprised a lot more people wouldn't get this. Now, if you look online, Umarex has got a CO2 rifle, but here's the problem with Umarex and all these other companies. They give you a rifle, but you don't have parts. This one, you don't have to worry. You can rebuild everything by yourself with very little tools. And they're quite, Archer Airguns is quite generous, I would say, in the area of seals and reseal kits and stuff like that. They usually give you quite a bit, and I've noticed that the prices for parts isn't gouging or anything like that. So it's kind of nice. And you can see down here the bolt probe O-rings. There's 2 of them in here. So you got 2 extra right here. You got a few extra O-rings for some other parts on the gun here too. So that's kind of nice. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. The trigger is just too sweet on this thing that I'm thinking I'm probably going to get addicted to this one. I do shoot the Daisy 953 target rifle, which is a very, very fine rifle. The problem is if you're not used to getting, if you're not that well into getting used to triggers like I am. I've shot rifles with the hardest trigger pulls out there, even 10 pounds and higher on some target air rifles like my Mendoza, which is very, very accurate despite the hard trigger pull because it's such a heavy gun. But you get used to your trigger pulls and stuff like that. This is really nice to have for a relief, knowing that, my gosh, I don't have to study the trigger and find out the best way to pull it or anything. You just take up a little bit of slack here, and the thing just goes off like a surprise break. You don't even know when it's going to go off. So when you're holding your breath for them couple seconds while you're pulling to the rear, it'll go off without even letting you know about it. So that's what's nice. It's unpredictable. I like unpredictable triggers. So it's kind of nice. So all you have to do is concentrate on your breath and your crosshair, staying perfectly steady. Let the vibration get out of the table and stuff like that. So you always want to take a few seconds just to totally relax and be steady. But yeah, the trigger is really nice. So I don't think I'm going to play around with the trigger. Some of you guys, might want to have a kit or something, or you might want to take it apart and do some adjustments on it. But I find no reason to mess with that trigger. I think messing with that trigger any further, I would say that you're getting kind of like in a risky area, of bumping the gun. Like this, you just tap on the gun and it'll go off, that kind of thing. You don't want that happening. So I'd say 2 pounds would be fine. It's 2 pounds 1 ounce on the trigger right now is what it is. So, But anyway, you know me, I don't prepare for these videos. You know, I'm not a professional or anything. I just tell you what's going on, you know, with my rifles and stuff and how they're performing. And I have been shooting for ever since I was a kid, air rifles, different kinds. So I can tell you from experience that if you were going to get a rifle like this, you'd really love it. Especially if you're a customized person, if you'd like to play around and do some gunsmithing of your own, maybe make a really, really nice wood stock, chop off the barrel, move the muzzle brake up, re-crown the barrel, or you can buy a whole new barrel. You can buy a whole new barrel for this rifle. You can buy a muzzle brake. You can buy 3 different stocks for it, a target stock, a field stock, and a standard stock, which is this right here. You can buy a bolt probe kit. You can buy internal parts like the chamber part, you know, where the valve is. You can buy all them little parts. You buy a hammer kit. I mean, just everything on this rifle you can buy, literally, any day of the week, and it's always available. You can buy a side lever kit. A side lever kit is where you pull like this. You pull it out like this. And if you're a lefty, you can actually buy parts that puts this bolt on the other side. So that's kind of nice. You know, Weaver rail, you can buy one of them. You can buy a special rail just for target sights, for peep sights, for like 10-meter matches that come up here, and then you got the front. You got the front piece right there with the different pieces that you can take in and out, and then back here you'll have a diopter type sight that you would find on your 10-meter rifles. So there's a lot you can do with this rifle. So it's really, really amazing the kind of things you can do with this. So it's a lot of fun. Got an easy trigger pull, and for the stock right here, you got this bolt. Makes it really, really a cinch to switch stocks. So if you have 3 or 4 different custom stocks for a certain day, like you want to go field shooting one day, you want to be bench rest one day, you know, for bench rest you can buy the flat stock, which is perfectly flat right here. And then for the field you can buy the thumb stock, which gives you a hole right up in this area. So it's kind of nice. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope I showed you enough here. And the pellet velocities and stuff, all you have to do is do your calculations on energy in foot-pounds, and you can find out, you know, what the energy in foot-pounds is. I'll probably show a list of energy in foot-pounds for this rifle on my Google Plus page. So if you're on the Google Plus page and you're looking around down there, I'm probably going to post all that detailed information about muzzle velocity and what you need for different yardages and stuff. But pretty much this rifle here, this will really get out there. This will get out there in range. You know, she does anywhere from the heaviest pellet 510, the lightest is about 800, something like that, 821. So somewhere in between there, you got 650 feet per second, 600 or 700 in between there, which is going to be fine. It's going to get you out to 75 yards. It's not going to have a lot of energy, but you're going to be able to, you know, to be able to plink some things at longer ranges. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Okay, I got the QB78 out today with a 3-9 by 32 scope. And I'm going to be using, at 15 yards, these air arms, 10.34 grain. I'll show them to you here. And what I like to do is I like to count these up. The QB78 can handle about 70 shots with the 2 CO2s that you put in it, but I always count my shots out to 60. So typically what I'll do is I'll just grab 60 pellets like this out of the tin, set them down, and then when I run out of the pellets, then I know I have to switch to CO2. So it's no big secret on when to switch to CO2. Or you can do your shot patterns. You can do that too. Like if you're shooting sets, like say if you're doing 6 sets of 10, then you know that when you're on your last set, then 60 shots. So let me take you down to the target here and show you at 15 yards what we got here is a 1/4 inch aim point, which is perfect for a 3 to 9 by 32 scope. So there it is right there. So that little square right there. Let me measure one more time just to make sure that square. See if 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch. It's probably a 1/2 inch, I would think. Yeah, about a 1/2 inch. If it was a circle, it would be a 1/2 inch. And this circle right here is 1 inch. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my camera so you can see me take shots. I'm going to do 5 shots for the center there and see what happens. Okay, I'll get you up closer a little later on. I just want to fire 5 shots. Also, I did clean the barrel, so I always like to clean barrel before I try new pellet. So far, the best pellet for this rifle, and possibly the only really good one, is that Air Arms 10.34 grain. So let me fire 5 shots for you. Okay. Check that out. Now I think you guys will understand why I like the QB78, and I made 2 really long videos about it. It's actually kind of underrated because when I got this from the factory, they just do a quick 10-meter test, and the groups on that were quite a bit wider. but they used a different pellet and they were using factory sights. But since I put a 9-32 scope on here, you can see right here 5 shots. 2 pellets right here. If you look at this right here, you probably couldn't fit 2 pellets inside there. If you did, they'd be kind of tight. So that's really excellent for, you know, if you're thinking like a 1/4 inch at 15 yards, then you're looking at a 1/2 inch at 25 or 30 yards. So for a CO2 rifle, that's really amazing. And it took me a while to find out the right pellet, but a 10.34 Air Arms pellet. So here it is, live video showing it to you. So now you know why it's my favorite CO2 rifle. And they're really not that expensive. They're all metal, made out of wood, you know, fine quality wood and stuff like that. You'll see in my video. And you can order the muzzle brake, and you can order, you know, other parts for it and stuff like that. So it's a very inexpensive rifle for what you get as far as real metal and real wood. And also you can buy the kits at archerairguns.com. They got some really nice kits on there and spare parts, so you can actually rebuild your own rifle, or you can customize your rifle. And that's one of the reasons why I like archerairguns.com website, because he's really good at that kind of stuff. So he's really good at providing parts and everything like that. But thank you very much for watching. Okay, I got the QB78 here. That's what you guys are looking at right now, that rifle in the background. QB78 Deluxe. I wanted to show you my best performing pellet so far at 15 yards that I'm having luck with, and it's the Air Arms 10.34 grain. Actually, JSB sells 10.34 grain pellets also, and they pretty much look the same. This is 60 shots, and these are 5-shot groups. So 5-shot groups for a total of 60 shots for the 2 CO2s. So what I do when I do this kind of test is I peel off these 1/4 inch dots right here, and these are my aim points for 15 yards. So if you notice 1/4 inch dots like right here and right here, that's not part of the group. That's actually just my aim point. So when you're looking at the groups, just forget about the black dot. Just focus more on the shot placements here. So let me get my light, shine down a little bit better on this. And I want to show you what's going on here with the shot groups. Okay, so I'm going to take this dime, and as you notice that a lot of these 5-shot groups fall about half dime size. Some of them are about a dime. So I'm just going to slide it over so you can see what it looks like. So having this accuracy at 15 yards, if it falls, you know, right around a dime or half a dime, what that translates to is you have a good chance of getting maybe 1-inch groups at 25 yards or under. So depending on, you know, the pellet and how its velocity and other factors handle at that distance. But typically I found out that indoors, if I can shoot a dime or under, I can always shoot maybe 3/4 of an inch groups, or maybe better, you know, at 25 yards for 5-shot groups. And of course you got your scope and, you know, a lot of different factors. And then the rifle too. But there we go. So we got 60 shots. Now, after about 60 shots, it starts to get kind of tired, and, you know, accuracy falls off and stuff like that. But according to this piece of paper here with this particular pellet on 2 fresh new CO2s with the bolt probe kit that was installed right on here, that gives you the sharp pointed bolt probe. And then also you get the better seal, the wider seal that allows for more airflow right here, which is basically, I found out all it is just basically tubing that was cut about that thick, and they just throw that in there, you know, to allow for more air. So that's your replacement seal right there. But anyway, if you would have had the other bolt kit, which comes, you know, stock with this rifle, QB78 Deluxe stock, the bolt would be exactly the same size of this tray, whereas this bolt right here, if you look at it, it's really thin and pointy. It's a probe, so I like that much better. So not just because of the velocity, I just kind of like having that probe there. But anyway, having that bolt probe put in, you do lose a little bit of shots, but not much. You know, say like this is 60 shots. If you had it a QB78 Deluxe cent stock, I would guess that you'd probably get maybe 70 good shots or more out of 2 CO2s. So it's really a lot of fun to shoot this rifle, because the factory trigger is set at 2 pounds 1 ounce, so it's got a really light trigger on it. So, and it's not bad for a CO2 rifle. You know, there's some rifles that I have that will outperform this QB78 that actually have harder trigger pulls, but for a CO2 rifle, this isn't too bad of groups and stuff. So, and I still got a lot of different pellets to go through anyway. But hope you enjoyed the video, you guys. Okay, I did some shot groups with the QB78, and what I did is I kind of strung them all together and taped them. So what this is it's the QB78. This is done at 15 yards with the Hawk 2 to 7x32 mil-dot scope. It's 12 sets of 5, which is 60 shots. The pellet I used was an 8.2 grain Meisterkogen. This is a wad cutter pellet. The 8.2 grain is an option for people that want to shoot a cheaper pellet, but has kind of the same or close accuracy as the RWS R10 8.2 grain, which is a competition grade pellet. And the average group size on this was 0.593, so just over half-inch groups for shots of 5 sets or whatever. So I wrote that on the front for the information, and then I'm going to show you all the groups and what happened here. So we start with the warm-up shots, 5 shots right here. 5/8 of an inch or 625. Second set, half-inch or 0.500. And what I decided to do with this is 4 clicks to the right, because I thought that this was kind of over a little bit, so I moved it. And sure enough, landed right where I wanted it to. And then 5/8, 625, 5/8, 625, 3/8, 375. That was a little better group there. 7/8, 875, 3/4, 750, 7/8, 875, 3/8, 375. And then when I found that the shots were drifting over here, I decided to go 2 clicks left. And sure enough, the 2 clicks left got me back near the center here. So once again, 1/2 inch or 0.500, half inch, 0.500, half inch, 0.500 for the 12 set of 5. Now, this is with 2 CO2s and the QB78, and so after you fire 60 shots, this is what you can expect. If you go over 60, sometimes you get lucky, like right here. This group here happens to be, I'd say probably 3/4 of an inch group. Shots number 60 through 65 or whatever. And then, well, actually 61, but if you look here, shots 65 through 70, we still see that it's getting some kind of a group, but then Once you push it over 70, it starts to waterfall on you. And as you can see, shot 75 landed way down here, but I was aiming here. So it goes to show you that there is a limitation on how much you can use the CO2. So what I found out is indoor at 65 degrees or 70 or whatever, that you're going to get 60 really good shots, maybe 65. So if you want to see more about the QB78, you can look that up on my video log on my channel. So here's a tomahawk pellet. Now, if any of you know anything about tomahawk pellets or any kind of gamma pellet, is they have problems with accuracy. And that's because the quality control isn't really there as much. So this QB78 2 to 7x32. This was used on 7x power, just like the other groups I showed you, 15 yards, 7.8 grain tomahawk. So we see the first group there, pretty wide. Second group, I decided to pull it over one click to the right, because I thought that was drifting a little too far. So I pulled it over to the right on the second group. Third group, one click left to correct that, because I thought I overdid it there a little bit. Foreset all over the place. Bad pellet. That's what that is. That's a bad pellet when it does that stuff. Okay. Now, when I got to number 5, I put fouling question. With some rifles, what happens is the more you shoot pellets through it, sometimes it increases the accuracy because you have some lead fouling in the barrel. Sometimes a barrel that's fouled can actually be more accurate than a clean barrel. So I put question mark fouling on that and found out that the shots were improving just a little bit. They're still bigger than I want them. They're still about an inch groups to inch and a half, which is, when it gets to be like that, where it's over an inch, that's kind of terrible for 15 yards, since it's a rifled barrel. But once again, I'm using gamma pellets. So like this one here is 1.5 inch group probably. This one's a 1 inch group. So what you learn from this is consistency of your pellet and which pellet to choose. A pellet that I use most in this rifle is a 10.34 grain Air Arms Heavy. That gives me 1/2 inch average groups. The Meister Kugeln gives me 0.593, so the accuracy, obviously with this wad cutter, is a little worse than that. But if you notice from shot to shot, you can see there's consistency within that orange dot there. It's consistently staying pretty much within the orange dot zone, which is a 1 inch orange dot. Based off the groups, we can predict in ideal conditions that if we double this, number right here, that means that at 30 yards, we would be probably an inch and a quarter groups, maybe 1.5 inch groups we could expect at 25 yards with this pellet, because what you do is, it doesn't always work. Sometimes it works. I tested it outside, but sometimes, if you shoot something at 15 yards and you double what your group size is to 30 yards, if you double that number, that'll show you basically what kind of accuracy you can expect without even going out in yard and shooting at 25 yards. But it doesn't always work, but as a general rule, usually groups double in distance. So if the group's like that, within 30 yards, this number is going to double too. Something like that. But it's good to tape these all together and stuff, and then what you can do is you can take them with you and show people. So that way you can show the consistency of this pellet right here based off of these sheets. And then that's how you determine what pellet you're going to use. is you try every pellet at every distance, at every speed. For instance, if you have a pump rifle, you want to switch out your speeds and stuff like that. So distance, speed, a lot of variables that you want to check out to ensure you're using the right pellets for the right distance or whatever. So this was done at 15 yards. I think I would be happy shooting this pellet at 25 yards because I do have 1.5 inch metal swing targets that would go with this rifle real nice, even though it's not the most accurate rifle. Like I said, I did get 1/2 inch group averages on 60 shots with the 10.34, which is probably fine for a CO2 rifle. I don't really know how good the rifling in the barrel is. I could buy another barrel for $30, $40, install it, and see if that improves the accuracy. Sometimes it does, because some barrels from the company you might get better accuracy depending on which barrel you choose. So I know a couple guys that have bought a couple barrels, and they say it does make a difference. You'll always have one barrel that's a little bit better rifling. So, but anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. And anytime you test pellets, even if you think they're bad pellets, it's good to do a 60 shot test. You know, like say 1 inch circle at 15 yards, shoot sets of 5 till you get to 60. See how the pellet performs, and then you can proceed to reject the pellet like I'm doing with this Gamma Tomahawk. But doesn't mean that it's going to do bad in every rifle, but this particular rifle, I'm not happy with anything that doesn't group you know, a certain size. And I think that when you go over 1 inch at 15 yards, you're really asking for it at longer ranges as far as not having any accuracy. So I like to keep everything within 1/2 inch if I can at 15 yards, because the whole goal is to hit a 1 inch target at 25 yards, which is kind of like an unofficial hunting standard that people in England use for pest control, like pest birds and rabbits and different things like that. So that, and that's also you know, like field target and stuff out to 25 yards. Sometimes they shoot at 1 inch targets like these, or they'll have a field target, a metal field target, and they'll put a circle in it that's smaller at longer ranges, you know, to see if they get more accuracy. But as a general rule, you know, 1 inch target at 25 yards, you want to be able to hit something like that. So if you're going off, you know, the hunting standard or whatever. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.